Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is JB. Welcome back, or welcome to the All Things Mechanical YouTube channel, where today we are once again sitting in my pain in the ass 2018 Silverado 1500. So I have a love-hate relationship with this truck at this point, guys. I actually have a video that I filmed around this time last year of me needing to replace the vent valve solenoid on this truck. That was last year. Fast forward a year later, and here we are, and I have a P0449 code this time on my Autel scan tool. That is a control circuit code. So that means that something electrical is going wrong and it can't operate that valve once again. Now, sometimes you just get a bad valve and that's the code that you get and you have to replace it. But being the fact that I used an OEM part and it's only a year old, I thought that was a little bit unlikely. So I have a direct hit DIY account, which is kind of like a cheaper version of AllData for like DIY folks like me. I went into the service data for this thing, checked into some things, followed the procedures for testing the fuse and checking some of the wiring, and I ohmed out the actual solenoid on the vent canister itself, which is supposed to ohm out between 10 and 30 ohms, and sure enough, it hit dead nuts in the middle of that range at 20 ohms, so I know that the solenoid's okay. But the problem I was having is that that's supposed to be a 12-volt circuit. Now, I know a lot of the sensors and stuff on here are 5-volt reference, but this is actual solenoid, so it's a 12-volt circuit for this particular vent valve solenoid, and it is ground switched to activate. So you're going to have 12 volts hot to it all the time, and the ECM actually controls the ground going to that to actually activate and deactivate, open and close that solenoid. So I stuck my probes up into the connector, and I was getting nothing. No 12 volts, no nothing. So I pull the ground out, and I touch it to the frame, and boom, immediately I have 12 volts. So that tells me that I'm getting power down to that connector, but I'm having a ground issue somewhere. And going and looking at all the comments in my direct hit account from other techs, is very, very common on these trucks to have an issue along the frame somewhere where moisture gets in there, the ground corrodes, the wire breaks, or it's just hanging on by a thread and it's not able to make a good connection. That's exactly what I think we have going on with this truck. Luckily, it was very, very easy to spot. Let me take you outside the truck now and I'll show you exactly what I just found right next to the connector. Alright guys, we're laying under the driver's side frame rail of the truck right now. There's the front left tire, and if you look up just below the front driver's side door here, this is the connector, and this is the vent solenoid right here that connects to the fuel tank. And I pulled back, this was all taped up, but I pulled this back, and lo and behold, you see what I'm seeing? Right there on the white wire, that's the ground. I don't know if it's focusing on that or not. There it is. But there's a break in that wire right there next to the connector, and I already stuck a probe in there to see if I can get a ground connection on it, and I could get nothing. So definitely not getting a ground, and I believe that's the source of our problem. So I'm gonna have to cut this wire back, splice it, and see if I can get a good ground going to the end of this connector. And hopefully that will solve our problem. But I'm gonna have to fight with this thing for the next few minutes. I'm gonna see if I can get this wire disconnected from the frame right up here, wherever it connects, loop it back around, see if I can get that to come down and hang here so I can work on it. So I'm gonna do that really quick, and I'll bring you back when I hopefully get a fix here. All right, everybody, it's actually the next day. I was able to get the harness pigtail disconnected from the frame. That took a little bit of doing. I had to kind of reach up through the frame with a flathead screwdriver to get that little Christmas tree connector to pop free. Those are really, really wedged in there. But I was able to get it to come around down to work on it underneath the frame where I had a little bit more room. Unfortunately, the damage to the wire was too close to the connector for me to be able to actually splice it. I use butt splice adapters for this kind of thing that have heat shrink tubing built into them, and they're pretty long. Even cutting them down a little bit would have made it really, really close to the connector. My Klein Catapult wire stripping tool wouldn't even get up on the little stub of wire that was left. So the solution that we've got here is laying on the bench, and I'll show that to you really quick. But first, I want to actually show you what I ended up cutting out of the wiring harness here. Let me turn the camera around. Okay, right here, I'm going to zoom in and so make sure it focuses. This is that section of wire that I showed you yesterday. See all that green corrosion in there? That break in the sheathing allowed water to get in there, and it completely rotted away all of the wire that was in there. There was literally nothing inside of it. I don't know if I'll be able to get it to focus on the ends of this thing without making you guys dizzy. But there's a tiny little, maybe a strand or two of wire left in that side, and on the other end of it, it's completely empty. There is nothing in there. So yeah, no wonder we weren't getting a ground. The wire literally evaporated into thin air. So we had Bluetooth ground for that particular connector. So the solution that I found here is just ordering a new connector and pigtail. This is a very standard AC Delco part. This is a connector number PT2160. These are used on a lot of areas on these GM vehicles. I mean, ABS sensors, wheel speed sensors, solenoids, the vent canister solenoid. This was $8 on Amazon. It's unfortunately a Chinese knockoff part, but I don't need to spend $22 on an actual AC Delco part for this, because where the vent solenoid is up underneath the frame, not only is the vent solenoid itself really well protected, but that connector is way up on the side of the solenoid itself, and even the connector itself is actually protected by the solenoid assembly. So not really worried about that. I did test fit this already. It snaps in place just fine. It doesn't have a little red locking tab that normally comes on these things, but that's gone anyway, because if you saw my other video about actually replacing the vent valve solenoid, that connector decided to delete itself when I took it out, and I never did find it. So it's either up in the frame somewhere, or it was in the grass and my kids ran it over with a lawnmower and it's long gone. No big deal. It locks in place just fine. So we're just going to cut this wire pigtail back a little bit. We're going to go positive to the, I believe it's red with a green stripe, and then our ground is obviously the white wire, and that will be our black. So I'm not going to be able to get the camera in there to do this, because even with the wire loom pulled back off of the frame, it's very, very limited working space. But I will bring you back in just a minute here when I get this thing spliced in place. I did do a quick farmer fix on it yesterday and just cut back as much as I could and twisted the wires together, and the code immediately went away. So did confirm that that is our problem. We're going to go ahead and get this taken care of, but $8.99 or whatever on Amazon, and it was delivered today for free next day without any additional charge. So I'll take it. Anyway, that's going bye-bye. This is going to be replacing it. Be right back. All right, folks, we're back under the truck here. Let me show you what I've got so far. I went ahead and used these eVolt heat shrink connectors. These are great. I get these on Amazon because they're adhesive lined and they're waterproof. So once the heat shrink actually activates, you can see there's all this adhesive that kind of squeezes out, and it basically renders the connection waterproof and very, very durable. So what I'm going to do now, this factory cloth tape that GM uses is pretty dried and full of dirt and junk. So I'm going to just snip this off right here. And then I have this cloth wire loom tape. I'm just going to replace that. And I'm going to tape this all the way up to the connector, because you can see the loom ends right here, which leaves all this wire exposed, which is how this problem began to begin with, I think. Something got up in there and nicked that ground wire and caused that break to happen, which allowed all that moisture in. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and just tape this all the way up to the connector, get it secured, and go ahead and get it reattached. But in case you were wondering, this is the clip I had to release to get this thing off of the frame up here so I could pull this out. This tucks back around on the inside and will clip back in on top of the frame here. I'll show you that the best I can when I'm finished, but I'm going to get this wrapped up, reconnect it, and we will do a little conclusion here shortly. All right, and here we are. Got the repair completed, got the cloth tape on there, and then I sealed the end of the wire loom with some Super 88 3M vinyl electrical tape. I'll see if I can do this on camera for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about with this clip right here. But that just goes over the top. The whole thing goes over the top of the frame and comes out on the forward side of the bracket here that holds the vent valve solenoid. And oops, I gotta get it underneath that tube. There we go. That's where we want it. And there is a square cutout right in the top of the frame here. Not sure if you'll be able to see it or not. Right here. Got that little plastic clip rides down inside right here. There we go. I get that locked in. And that holds the whole thing to the frame nice and snug. And now we just go ahead and reconnect our wire here. Click. Done. So now we have that repair done. It's nice and protected. We can still see which wire is which in case we need to back probe something for some reason in the future. But good repair, nice and solid, and that should solve our issue. So we'll go ahead and hop into the truck and make sure that check engine light does not come back on. All right, guys, we're back in the truck here. I just got the Autel MaxiCom fired back up here. going into auto scan mode. So while it's going through its auto scan and pulling up all the OBD2 codes that are stored in this thing, a lot of which don't matter, I'm going to go over this again with you guys real quick while we're waiting for that. The tools that I used for this. Again, these eVolt heat shrink connectors, these come in all different sizes. These are the smallest ones I think that they make. These are 22 to 16 gauge, which is perfect for the application we just used because the existing factory wires are actually smaller than the ones that came on that replacement connector. So that worked out really well. I have my Klein Catapult here, which you guys, I've had this thing for years and years now. This is an automatic wire stripper with a bunch of different sizes in it. You can get these at Home Depot. They're relatively inexpensive. I think they're like 20 bucks. And it just goes boink. So it just grabs the wire, cuts the sheathing, and pulls the sheathing off for you all in one go. You can even cut solid copper wire with it, although I've never used it for that. I just do light duty stuff mostly. And a pair of nippers to cut stuff. And then my Titan ratcheting crimping tool. Again, you can get all this stuff on Amazon. I've had this again for years and years. Some Super 88 vinyl electrical tape. This is hardcore stuff. You can use Super 33 or even just regular electrical tape if you want to. It's not necessary to go Super 88. This is just higher heat rated. So I like that stuff. I use it on everything. And then this cloth tape. It's this wire loom tape. It's generic. You can get it on Amazon too. As for this connector, you can see this is the one that this is the factory connector I ended up cutting off. You can see how close the damage was to the actual end of the connector here. And that did not allow my catapult tool. There wasn't enough meat left on there. Not enough wire to even use it. Not only that, these butt splice connectors that I use with the heat shrink on them, that's not even enough meat left on there to get it all the way into the center part here that would have to be crimped. So again, a replacement PT2160 connector is all that was required here. $8 on Amazon, free overnight shipping. Can't really beat that. So replace the connector, got everything sealed up, and we're going to go ahead and pull up our engine control module faults here and see what, if anything, is showing up. I'm guessing we're still going to have a stored code because there haven't been enough drive cycles on this thing to actually clear out the pending code yet. DTC display. Yep, we still have a P0449 here. Since last clear, passed and failed. So I'm going to go ahead and start the truck now. I haven't cleared anything yet. It's just still showing the code. But there is no check engine light on the dash. So I'm going to see if we can erase this code. It probably won't. Yeah, it won't let me erase the code until enough drive cycles have actually occurred to allow this thing to clear on its own. But we don't have any check engine light anymore, and at this point we'll be able to pass emissions, because this, if I wouldn't have fixed it, would have been an emissions failure. And we have to get this truck registered in a couple of months, and because we're in a county in Utah that does require emissions testing, if you have a check engine light illuminated that is related to your evap system, you will fail the emissions test, even if everything else on the truck is working perfectly fine. So this was kind of a mandatory thing for us, unfortunately. But really wasn't a hard fix, just kind of a pain in the butt to get up in there. But if you have a P0449 code, a lot of times people will fire the parts cannon at a truck like this and just replace that vent canister solenoid and call it a day and send it on down the road. That's not always the case. Sometimes you do have an electrical bug, and there are a lot of reports of the ground wire having breaks in it anywhere in the loom from the ECM all the way back to that connector. I got really, really lucky in that the break was right there at the connector, so I didn't really have to fuss with it that much. Just cut the old connector off, put a new one in there, bingo, bango, problem solved. But if you can't find a break right there in that exposed part of the wire, you might need to do a little bit of digging or test light, get a multimeter with some longer leads, and start trying to go in between your ECM pins and that connector to see if you have a break in that wire somewhere. It's not always just replacing the vent valve canister, because that's clearly wouldn't have solved the problem in this case. The thing just got replaced a year ago. I'm sure it's still fine. So anyway, that's all I got for you this time, guys. Go ahead and like the video if you found it helpful. Share it with someone else if you think it would be helpful for them. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and there will be more to come. So again, thank you guys very much. I appreciate you watching. Y'all be safe, have fun. Catch you on the next one. See ya.